recently turned 25 at the time this video is recorded. So now that I'm 25, my brain is fully developed, and I can sort of think within kind of the matrix that those unks have, that kind of different, wiser perspective. And I've been thinking about this idea that I kind of went through earlier in my youth, kind of around high school, college, where I was like, man, I can't wait to get out of school. When I get into my 20-somethings, I'm just going to be able to do whatever the freak that I want. I'll get to live on my own, and I'll be able to do this and that and hang out with my friends whenever I want to, as much as I want to. And I'll have this really active life, and I'll be able to work on my passions whenever I want to, and I'll be able to like really get the ball rolling on certain things, and I'll just have this independence and freedom that I felt like I didn't have during my adolescence. While some of that is true, I think the idea of that was a lot more exciting than what the reality was or is. And the reality is a lot more mundane than what your head made it out to be. When you get older, your circle of friends shrinks. It's much harder to meet new people and have an actual connection with them, whether that be romantic or platonic. You also have that factor when you get to your 20s, you don't really have a lot to work with when it comes to your reputation and your wealth, or just kind of the stock that you have in the world, to be able to have the freedom to kind of do what you want that you thought you were able to do in your adolescence, or what you thought you could do leading up to that point of what you wish you had, which is today. For me, for example, I have a job that I need to pay student loans, bills, my phone, my car, my rent, other bullshit adults have to pay for, fucking food, McDonald's. Can only get McDonald's like once a week. It's fucking stupid. And there's a lot of limitation there, but I think there is a freedom that you have when you're in your 20-somethings, mid-20s, to be able to have that freedom in the time that you're not spending working or doing whatever to work towards kind of your passion and what you want to do theoretically that you would do if you didn't have a job. That freedom, that what you want to do you didn't have maybe when you had less experience when you were younger. I think the journey of it all is really exciting. Like, when I mean the journey, like your adolescence, kind of up till college, kind of probably sophomore to junior year of college, when you're not thinking about like, oh shit, I need a job to support myself and pay rent and find a place to live. Like, all that's super fucking stressful. I made a video about graduating college that kind of highlights some of those ideas kind of leading up to that senior year of college, which is just a fucking nightmare. But before that, it really is kind of what you make of it. The ideas in your head are a lot more romanticized, in the sense of like, oh man, I had free headspace to think about all the things that I could possibly be doing. And I think a lot of the time for most people, they don't act on it because it's sort of this kind of unattainable thing that, like, you know, maybe when I'm older, I have like all this free energy to think about shit that I want to do with the rest of my life, that maybe you don't have the faculties at that given moment until you reach that destination. And in that journey, yeah, you're thinking about that, but I don't know if that's kind of the main priority, because when you're in kind of that adolescent age, it's a lot of that stuff that you want to do for the rest of your life is kind of in the back burner. And kind of leading up through that and a little bit before adolescence, you're kind of hammered with this idea of what do you want to do? You need to figure out what you want to do immediately, or else you're fucked for the rest of your life. Or at least that's kind of the feeling that you get in high school and college, which for a lot of people is hard to do, which is understandable, because you're just kind of hammered with so much shit to where it's like, dude, I could give two shits about my fucking broadcast journalism classes. I just want to go home and play fucking Marvel Rivals or Fortnite, you know what I mean? And there's this kind of romanticization, if that's how you fucking say that. I wrote that word down. I had no idea how to spell it. no idea how to articulate it. I'm fucking dumb. But in the moment when you're kind of in your adolescence, like 16 to 18, early college, you're kind of romanticizing this freedom that you have, that you're spending all this time with your friends. Maybe you're hooking up with some chick, have a girlfriend or whatever. And at the time, you think that time is endless, to be able to think about what you want to do, or like maybe you have this idea in your head that you want to create something, or really have this passion that you want to do something with, that especially creatively is sitting out there, and it's just kind of this idea that's like, okay, I'll get to it when I get to it. And then 6 years pass by and maybe you did a couple things, but it never really came to be what you thought it would be. And I think that's okay, because there's a lot of development and experiences to be had that kind of leads you up to the point in time to where you're kind of ready to enact those things. And maybe during that time in your adolescence, your passions aren't really actually what you're passionate about, but it's kind of things that you've either been told through media or friends that you need to be caring about these things. And then when you're kind of on your own, you kind of figure out when you're in your 20s that, like, okay, this is kind of where I want to be, and this is the kind of the direction that I want to go towards. And I think for me, at least, I always wanted to be a creative person growing up. I mean, in high school, I have this fucking YouTube channel that is like 10 years old now, 10 or 11 years old now. I've always wanted to do something creative. I've always wanted to make content, but I didn't have the finger on the trigger of like exactly what I wanted to articulate or do. I was kind of copying what a lot of other people do. And I think that's good in the sense that, like, you're sort of copying, trying to figure things out, looking at other people for inspiration, which is a lot of that is done through your adolescence and 20s, kind of as a baseline of figuring it out, and then you kind of develop your own kind of personality and how the way you specifically want to do things. For example, like I said before, I've had this YouTube channel for fucking 10 years, and finally now, after on and off uploading, and that I've kind of now figured out like kind of what I want to do with it, making these kind of talking head pieces, talking about whatever I personally want to talk about, that I'm passionate about, and I'm not just kind of inundated with kind of chasing the dragon of like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like in my early 20s, I uploaded every week about some bullshit, whether that be talking about a content creator or kind of an idea, which is kind of similar what I want to do now, but I think I uploaded like 3 videos in a row about like how fucking boring shit is, and it was a lot more stylized. Rick and Morty burger, I love. And I basically wanted to copy what like the Tiny Meat Gang, iDubbbz, Filthy Frank, H3H3, what those guys would do, and I kind of copied that, but put my own tiny little spin on it. And then when I was like fucking 13 through 18, I was making really shitty Fortnite videos, Minecraft, Hunger Games.
So yeah, I mean, it is just really... Oh my gosh, a stone sword!
Minecraft survival Let's Plays, and I was basically just like copying Captain Sparkles or like what the FaZe guys did earlier on, just doing commentary video shit. It wasn't good, but my point that I'm trying to make is, if you have creative passions, I think it's okay to be really shitty for a long time, because you're just gonna keep fucking failing until you find that success, and then you start kind of developing your own personal thing. Like you have your own specific style of thing that you want to do. And I think that applies to like really any passion or career that you want to follow. You just gotta like get up and do it. But I'm losing the point here. Even then, it's still like really hard to figure out and pinpoint like who you are. And that's okay. And some people really never figure out who they are and they'll be like fucking 30, 40-year-old fucking freaks, and just kind of droned out and just kind of encompassing a personality that's not theirs, but something that they've been told to be. Your adolescence is there to kind of figure out a lot of shit, and even into your early 20s to just figure out all of that bullshit, because there's a lot, but also kind of have fun in the process, because you do have a lot of freedom in the sense that you don't have certain responsibilities to take care of. You're not sort of burdened by the bullshit when you become a fully realized adult. And the destination, I don't think we ever reach the sort of destination of like who we are or kind of what we're fully realized to be, because I think there's always going to be something that we can work towards as human beings, individual people. But when you get to kind of your mid-20s where I am now, it's a lot more fucking boring than what I dreamed of it while I was kind of on that journey of adolescence, as fucking as that sounds. Like for me, and I think for most people, you're just kind of spending a lot more time alone, which I fucking treasured I don't want to say it, but some of those young bucks, some of those young bulls out there, I really treasured my alone time as a youth, because I didn't get enough of it. I just wanted to fucking be on my computer and play Minecraft alone for hours till like 3 in the morning, and now that isn't as fun anymore, and I really kind of look towards community, because I think that's something in your adolescence that you got a lot of that you didn't really cherish as much until you don't have it anymore. And I think there's kind of that yin and yang aspect to that when you're kind of growing up versus kind of when you're older and more mature or whatever. You're kind of taking for granted the amount of people that are surrounding you and influencing you, and putting a lot of like your passion, individual passion, on the back burner. And then when you're old and alone, not saying I'm old, I'm 25, fully developed, talking to you, you spend a lot more time to yourself, which I think is good in the sense that you're kind of in your own head figuring out who you are and what you want to do and how you want to go about making a name for yourself, and like kind of what you want to do for the rest of your life that you didn't do during your youth. And it's kind of funny because all that shit is kind of thrown in your face. Like, it's in front of you the entire time of what you need to be doing during your adolescence. But when you get to that place that you look forward to, that's kind of the time to figure shit out, because you're having all that fun. And there's definitely a balance there of like fun, figuring it out. And I think for the people that get to like their mid-20s, late 20s or whatever, and don't have it figured out, I think there's an aspect there that you didn't really know. It's kind of hard to find the destination in the sense of like who you are when you didn't really know what you wanted to be in the first place. And this isn't in like an advice video or anything. I think it's just like important to find a thing that you really enjoy and work towards it. And granted, like, not every passion that you have is something that like you actually want to do. Like, you know, I like video games, so I'm gonna make videos about gaming, or I'm gonna be the next Call of Duty commentator, or whatever the fuck. Some things are like, I like Minecraft, but I'm not gonna try and make a job out of playing Minecraft. Well, I kind of am on Twitch, twitch.tv/Geneyard. Go check it out. But, you know, some people just like want to have a job and fuck their wife and, you know, play The Last of Us 2 or some shit, which is fine. I don't know, I feel like I've been yapping for a really long time, like I do for most of these videos. I guess, like, to conclude this whole thing, like, I don't know, don't like overthink it too much, but when you get to kind of that place where you have the time to settle and think about the shit that you want to do, like really put some time into it and make that thought into action, you'll get inundated with these like Jocko, David Goggins types where you have to fucking wake up at 5:30 in the morning and eat a banana and go on a 5-mile run. Like, that's fucking stupid. Make your own thing of it. Don't be a lazy piece of shit and kind of squander the freedom that you have, but have fun with it too. There's kind of a balance there, and it's hard to find it. Know your own limits and know who you are, and if you don't know who you are, kind of figure that out through trial and error. I don't think you can kind of figure out who you are through watching a Luke Belmar video or some podcast. Like, I think it takes real world experience in the sense of kind of going out there and doing it, if that makes any fucking sense.